I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll call to order to have a roll call. Commissioner Brewey? Yep. Commissioner Clement?
Present.
Commissioner Etchigon? Here. Commissioner Franklin?
Here.
Commissioner Nix?
Present.
Commissioner Day?
Here.
And I am here, I think. So good. Next item, public comment. Public comment will be in accordance with the attached COVID-19 policy. This time is reserved for members of this audience to address the Planning Commission on items of interest that are not on the agenda and are within the scope of subject matter jurisdiction of the Commission. It's recommended that speakers limit their comment to 3 minutes each, and is requested that no comments be made during this period on items on the agenda. The Commission is prohibited by law from taking any action on matters discussed that are not on the agenda prior to addressing the Commission. Any handouts to the Commissioners will be provided by the Planning Commission Secretary for distribution to the Commissioners and appropriate staff. Do we have any public comments? Seeing none, call for approval of the minutes, the special meeting February 22nd, 2021.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written. Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Etchigon. Who got the second? I didn't hear that. Commissioner Clement, second? Okay. So we'll have a roll call vote on that. Commissioner Etchigon?
Aye.
Commissioner Clement?
Aye.
Commissioner Brewer?
Aye.
Commissioner Franklin?
Aye.
Commissioner Nix?
Aye.
Commissioner Day?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay. Next, we have a public hearing, major site plan review number 2102. Request by Lemoore Foods Company to construct a 10 megawatt ground mounted fixed lit photovoltaic solar facilities to be located west of its current food processing facility at 351 North Bellhaven Drive, APN number 023470006. Ready, Steve?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Good evening, commissioners and chair. This is Steve Brandt. I'm the city planner. And this first item for Lemoore Foods is a major site plan review. This is to approve addition of some solar panels directly west of their existing facility. That would be on their site, and the electricity generated would only be used for their facility. In a case like that, solar panels are an allowed use under the zoning ordinance, so you're only reviewing the actual site plan tonight. So most of the site, let's see if I'll keep talking while she tries to get it up. Most of the site is going to be covered with the solar panels on the south end near the railroad tracks. There'll be a ponding basin. On the north end, it'll be fenced. There'll be a gate to Industry Way for maintenance vehicles. Most of our site plan comments that are in your packet are standard comments about grading and meeting city standards. We do want the road, which is not completely built out, to be built out on the south side of the site, which would be, curb and gutter and pave out and sidewalk, and then have the area between the curb and the fence landscaped. And that is, again, per the city standards. So we're recommending approval. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I have one, Steve. Just looking at the map, where is the proposed Helena Chemical?
Helena would be directly west of this site.
Directly west of that? Okay.
Yes. And that'll be at a future meeting.
I'm just curious of where they were City? Because I always thought they were going really close to the perimeter.
Okay, no,
They're going to be a buffer zone.
they'll be to the west, yeah. So this solar farm will be between the two facilities.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have someone calling in? I'm not hearing anything. Am I doing something incorrectly? Okay.
Yes, there are several people from Lemoore and Solar on the phone, just listening.
Okay, just listening. Okay. Any other questions of Mr. Brandt? Okay. Concerns?
Nope, just have you open the public hearing, see if anyone wants to speak.
Okay. Public hearing is now open at 7:08. Any comments?
And I don't have any comments yet either.
Okay. Well, hearing none then, we'll close this public hearing at 7:09. It's a short hearing. Okay, we have a resolution before us.
Mr. Chair, with no other further discussion with my fellow commissioners, I move to adopt resolution number 2021-02, approving this major site plan review number 2020-02.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second by Mr. Nix. Any other comments? Then I will call for the vote. Commissioner Clement?
Aye.
Commissioner Nix?
Aye.
Commissioner Brewer?
Aye.
Commissioner Echegon?
Aye.
Commissioner Franklin?
Aye.
Commissioner Day?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Passes. Now, we move on to item number 6. It's a public hearing. General Plan Amendment number 21-01 and Zone Map Amendment 2021-01. The city initiated change to the land use designation of the Lemoore General Plan map from Parks and Recreation to Professional Office. This undeveloped 9.1 acre site is located on the northeast corner of 19th and a half and Cedar Lane, APN number 02023400001, 023400002, and 203400003. Mr. Brandt.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, excuse.
Is this the property that we discussed?
Yes. Go ahead.
I have been informed by Commissioner Franklin that he lives within 500 feet of this subject property. Based on recently updated revisions, setting out conflict of interest requirements for planning commissioners, there is a presumption of a material effect on his property based on this project, and he'll be required to recuse himself from this discussion.
Okay, I'll step out.
Is this just out there? He doesn't have to actually leave, does he need to go to the room? Okay, all right. How about now? There's
I'm having a hard time hearing.
Okay, what was that?
It's on. Would you like me to repeat
I watched
myself?
it, And then I was just looking on the maps to see where everything's at.
Okay, are we set to go then?
I think so.
Okay, Commissioner Gregg is recused for this item. So,
So General Plan Amendment 2021-01 and Zoning Map Amendment 2021-01 is for a site, as you stated, at the northeast corner of Cedar Lane and 19 and a half Avenue. The site is vacant. It is owned by the city currently. There's a ponding basin directly to the east and other uses surrounding. The ponding basin is also a city-owned ponding basin. So the request is to change the land use designation and the zoning from Parks and Recreation to professional office. This would allow a future project to go in on the site that would be consistent and allowed in the professional office zone. We don't have a specific project before us tonight, just the general plan amendment and the zone change. In looking at the site and looking at the general plan, the site at the time the general plan was adopted was planned to be a place to relocate the Little League fields that are down by the golf course. With some changes in city staff thinking, and there doesn't appear to be a desire anymore to make that change. And so in looking at the other park space, both existing and proposed, the staff is recommending that this site is no longer needed for a future park site. And so they're, this is what's bringing forth the proposal to professional office. As I said, this is only the zone change right now. So if there's a use that comes on the site that requires a conditional use permit, that would come back to you for approval of the CUP. Also, if the project is over 20,000 square feet of building space, that would be major site plan review. So that would also come back to you for review of the site plan. We just don't know at this time what's going to be there. There has been talk that a cannabis use might go in there. That is, I think people have speculated that because of some actions the council took recently to add some cannabis uses with a CUP in the professional office zone. But I guess I would just say right now, we don't know if that's what will be proposed there. If it is, it will come before you and there will be another public hearing at that time for that specific use. Right now, the professional office zone would allow any type of office uses on that site to be proposed.
Has there been any consideration of relocating another area, Parks and Rec, to replace this one that's been on the books for 10 years maybe or longer? I don't recall how long it's been.
I haven't heard of any proposal to rezone something for parks that isn't zoned parks now. When we did the analysis, it appeared that we were still under the, we still had enough parks to meet
Enough Parks and Rec area?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. Then,
May I add something?
Sure.
Very good point that Ron made, because when we look at potential growth of the city, there is going to be a need for some more recreational space. So possibly the staff could look at some possibilities.
Other sites.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good thing to do.
Okay.
okay, good.
Are they still considering relocating the Little League fields at all?
Not at this time. They're not considering that. We did discuss that internally, and one of the thoughts was, if you were going to relocate the Little League Park, you might want to do it in conjunction with a larger sports park facility, and those usually start at about 20 acres in size, because then maybe you could put some soccer fields next to it. You can have shared concessions and parking and things like that. So I think the thinking has changed a little bit since the general plan was put in place, that if we are going to do a relocation, we'd want to go to a bigger site.
Okay, yeah. A few years ago, there was quite a bit of discussion and public interest in that property in terms of the cannabis growing and et cetera, et cetera. I have not heard anything that is opposed to that. In other words, people didn't want it then. I don't think they want it now. And so changing that designation for professional offices is probably a very good idea. Any other questions or comments for Steve? Okay, then we will open this public hearing at 7:18. Any comments from the public? Questions, concerns?
We did receive something today.
At the first, we received 3 emails from the same person, Mark Gleaton. And the first email was received at 4:56. And he states, I and neighbors are writing to oppose the zone change for the northeast corner of 19 and a half and Cedar, 9.1 acres of Lemoore City land from Parks and Recreation to public office usage. We would welcome a true park and rec usage of the land or even a commercial use as in housing or retail. We do not agree to the proposed change from parks and rec to professional office on this APN, specifically because of the recent light cannabis manufacturing usage approval of that inclusion by the city council and the fact that it should be PR land, Parks and Rec. Furthermore, the city has engaged in allowing city land to be sold for pennies on the dollar to developers and cannabis entities to try and garner tax revenue. Furthermore, the parcel in question was already denied a permit due to a citizen input and is now apparently part of a $1.7 million deal between Cashin, Farm Lemoore LLC, and NHC, and is likely to become a cannabis manufacturing facility. The city gave this land to Cashin for $1 and gave him 19 and a half cedar for $10, only to have it go to weed. Show us the money. His next email was at 4:58. He said ABC 30 is on the story. And then he emailed the third time at 5:16 today saying NHC/Farm Lemoore LLC principals, founders are under active investigation by the FBI and U.S. Marshals Service in San Luis Obispo, research warrants, raids for Mexican cartel ties and forced labor and other issues. Do we really need that increased presence in Lemoore? And this was the only correspondence we got via email today.
Okay. Do we have any other comments or questions from the public? No? Are you, okay, you're coming up.
Nathan Olson, city manager, resident of Lemoore. Just about the previous comment, I think it's important to point out that one, NHC has nothing to do with the 9 acres in question. They were part of a deal to rescind the agreement on the 80 acres, but that's where they end. The rezoning is part of KCAL to be able to develop in Lemoore. They thought they were going to have 83 acres to develop. The city was unable to meet our obligation because we were estimating about $6 million to build all the infrastructure, what the city was on the hook for. It came back at almost $12 million, so we physically couldn't launch the project. As an opt-out, NHC purchased that land on behalf of the city directly to Cashin. So it cost the city $0 to get out of that agreement, and we were contractually obligated to up to $4 million in damages if we didn't fulfill our duties. So we got out of a bad deal, or a deal that didn't come to fruition because one of the local dispensaries paid on our behalf to get us out of that deal, or basically bought the rights to the land from KCAL. And they did ask for some property to develop in Lemoore. And again, Mr. Brandt said, this isn't tied to any cannabis at this point. Have I showed the site? Yep. I've also showed multiple sites by the college and multiple sites out in South Industrial Plant. But we've learned from our last hearing that we got to listen to our residents, and we have. And we would never try to put like a dispensary or an active, lot of foot traffic stuff in and out. The reality is the world's changing. People are starting to use THC and CBD ingredients and products. So under a professional office, if somebody wanted to go there, it would be more, it wouldn't be like a manufacturer's of oils. It'd be somebody that probably used a finished ingredient in something they're making that gets distributed out. So Lemoore could potentially be a distribution site. But like I said, that's not in fruition at all. All we're doing right now is trying to find a designated use that meets the need of the developer so we can build that property. So that's really what it is. And as far as the stories about the raids and the human trafficking and stuff, that all came up during the opening of the dispensary. It was debunked by the chief of police over there. It was also debunked by the city manager. Our PD's aware of the allegations. There's a newspaper reporting outfit on the Central Coast that's been sued for slander and has lost their part of these ongoing stories about one of the principal owners of N8C. So they are not true. The state is currently issuing N8C Farm Lemoore permits on the daily basis that we're getting approved for the grow operation south of town that's already been passed. So if there was any legal issues with that organization, the state would not be issuing license for them right now. And as far as ongoing investigations, I'm not privy to that, but business is business. A lot of people get sued for different things. I mean, the cities, and I don't know how many lawsuits right now, but because we're not cannabis, it's not all over the news. So thank you.
Nathan, I have a question before you sit down. Sorry.
Yes, sir.
So if somebody was to want to open a business that uses a finished product, now does that have to end up coming through maybe through us or through city council?
No, it has to come through you because it would be under a conditional use permit. So yes, it would come to the planning commission after public hearings and the whole project. You'd go through a whole, I'm going to assume major site plan review, and it would take your recommendation. And it would also go to the council. This is not changing the zoning to professional offices is not anything that staff can authorize the use of any cannabis products there administratively. It has to come back to this body and it has to come through council.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, I'll have to admit my ignorance. I have not been privy to those news articles or television broadcasts or accusations about, is it Grover Beach? I think I was assuming Grover Beach. And I have family that lives there and they haven't told me anything. So it's not widely known or spread. I think the rumors are probably on the lower end, at least to my knowledge. And I have not heard one word from any resident of this community express that. I don't know if others of you have heard that. I'm totally ignorant of that.
Yeah, I had just heard from some members in community, they were concerned about the possibility of a cannabis-infused business going into that. But, looking at this, I mean, that's another day anyway.
Certainly, I would think so.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
just want to remind you, I believe the public hearing is still open.
I stand corrected. All right. Do we have any more comments from the public? Got carried away a little bit there. Sorry. I see no one there.
I think we're the only participant left.
Yeah, I believe so. Okay, hearing no other comment, we will close this public hearing at 7:25. Questions or other further comments from the commissioners?
So today I spoke with a few of the, one neighbor in particular of that area, and he expressed that a cannabis operation that he and other neighbors are deeply concerned about the possibility of cannabis operations coming into the vicinity. But I think it's also important to note that creating the zoning to allow for professional spaces, that's not the only type of business that could go into a space like that. It could be several other things. It could be financial services, life insurance. It could be, as we all know, a multitude of different style type or different industries that could move into that vicinity. When I was talking about what we were looking at tonight regarding this item, he seemed excited to the overall openness for the possibility of professional services to be coming into the neighborhood. He was excited about that, but was deeply concerned about the possibility of cannabis operations. So if other industries were going to be moving in, that would be a tremendous benefit for that neighborhood.
And it sounds like too, it has to come back to us to be approved for cannabis anyway. So even if we approve the changes, we still have final say over it, what businesses would go in there anyways, if I understood it right.
Well, I believe that's correct. It would have to come through this body first before it would go to whatever our recommendation or decision would be, would have to go to the city council. And that's kind of the final say right there, as far as I understand. And yes, we know the hullabaloo that it caused a couple of years ago, or 3 or 4, or whatever it was. I don't see that sentiment changing. But if we were to put doctor's offices in there, or medical centers, or financial centers, or something like that, I think that'd be well received. And I think we would have some input on that at that point in time.
I agree.
Any other comments? Okey doke. So we have a recommendation here?
If there's any other discussion with anybody, if not, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt resolution number 2021-03, recommending the approval of the general plan amendment number 2021-01 and the zoning map amendment number 2021-01.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Commissioner Etchgon,
Aye.
Commissioner Day,
Aye.
Commissioner Brewer,
Aye.
Commissioner Clement,
Aye.
Commissioner Nix.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okey doke. Now,
Let me get Commissioner Franklin.
oh, yes. Okay, item number 7 is continuance of a public hearing from our last special meeting. This has to do with the planned PUD number 2020-03, revision of Fairway Courtyards Tract 820, tentative subdivision map 2020-02, major site plan review number 2020-5, request by Energy Homes, G.J. Gardner Homes, to divide 4.59 acres into 29 single-family lots and 3 outlots. Project is located on the east side of Vine Street, approximately 400 feet south of Iona Avenue, the city of Lemoore. APN numbers 024-309-001-002, 003, 004, 005, 006, 007, 008, 009, 010, 011, 012, 013, 014, 015, 016, 017, 018, 019, 020, 021, 022, 023, 024, 025, 026, 027, 028, 029, 030, 031, 032, 033, 034, 035, 036, 037, 038, 039, 040, 041, 042. Mr. Brandt. That's a lot of numbers there.
I see why your fellow commissioners voted you chair.
Maybe I should have asked if I just could have said 001 through 0042.
I would have let you.
Thank you. I'll remember that for next time around.
Ron, for a minute there, I thought you were doing bingo.
That's above my skill set, Bob.
Thank you, Jeremy. This project is located on the east side of Vine Street, a little south of Iona Avenue, right up against a portion of the golf course. This was a site that was originally planned for development before the recession, and development was started on the site, and there's portions of the infrastructure are built at the site. The original site, and the reason why there were so many APN numbers is because the final map was recorded back at that time. And so there are actually, 41 lots there right now. The issue is the market has changed. That project was planned for, they were like fourplex townhome type developments with zero lot line homes. And that developer walked away from the project with a lot of the infrastructure put in. And the project has sat until now, and we have a developer now. And Judy, I can tell you, a number of people have looked at this over the years and also passed. So we have a developer now that wants to reinvigorate the site. What they're proposing is a re-subdivision of the site, keeping the street layout the same, keeping the, I'm going ahead of myself. Christy's got the zoning map up, so this shows that the site is low, medium density residential, surrounded by other types of zoning. There's light industrial to the north, the treatment plant to the west, and the golf course to the south and east. So there's three parts to this project. The planned unit development would re-subdivide to allow 29 new residential lots. They would not be any zero lot line. They would have 5-foot setbacks on the sides. So they would be single family homes. All of them are 1 story. The layout also includes 3 outlots. One of them would be a park. One would be an area that had additional parking. And then the third would be for a drainage basin. In the original proposal, the street was going to be a private street. In this proposal, the street will be a public street taken over by the city upon approval. One of the reasons to point that out is the street does not meet the current city standard for street width and other things. But since the infrastructure is in, the curb and gutter are poured, and we wouldn't want to have to rip all of that out. The Public Works Directors reviewed the site extensively and agreed to accept the street if the project is approved. One of the conditions is that we limit parking to only one side of the street because it's narrower than most public city streets. So the planned unit development portion of the project approves the site layout and the changes to building setbacks because they're asking for setbacks that are different than the normal city standard, and also lot sizes that are less than the city standard. So because of the PUD portion, that's an ordinance change that would go to council. So because of that, your decision tonight is a recommendation to city council on what to do with this project. Go to the next slide. The second part of it is the tentative subdivision map. So it's 4.59 acres now. Like I said, it's already divided up into a number of lots. This tentative map would re-subdivide everything into 29 lots and the 3 outlots, with the street then being a public street. As you can see the map there, so there would be 2 streets that would connect to Vine Street, and then there'd be a cul-de-sac at the end to allow for turnaround of larger vehicles and city vehicles. The third part of this is the major site plan review, and that would be to approve the site plan and also to approve the home plans that have been submitted for the project. The review of the home plans is part of the major site plan review. There's 4 floor plans that have been submitted. 3 of those plans have 2 different elevations. We can go to so here's plan 1 that it's a 3-bedroom home. There's 2 possible facade treatments, and it has a 2-car garage. Plan 2 also has 3 bedrooms, 2 2 facade treatments and is a 2-car garage. Plan 3 is a 2-bedroom home with a 1-car garage. There's only one of these homes planned in the project and this is a smaller home that's needed because of the size of the lot. And then Plan 4 also has 3 bedrooms, 2 possible facade treatments, and a 1-car garage. One of the amenities that the applicant's proposing is to do carriage-style doors on the garage doors, give it a little bit nicer look in the front. And then here you can see all the elevations side by side. Let's go ahead to the next one. So I want to go through some of the conditions that we're proposing on this on the site plan. One of them is shown here is that you've got the lot 31 that is the park site, and then lot 30, I believe it's 32 that has the parking spaces. In the previous rendition of the project, those were going to be, kept as an HOA and controlled by an HOA. Since there is no HOA, these are going to be city lots and maintained by the city and with funding from a public facilities maintenance district. Because of that, we felt like, and because it's a public space, we felt like the fencing needed to be a little more robust than your typical wood fence. So one of the conditions is to require either metal or concrete posts and a mow curb underneath the fence to give it a little more stability and longevity. I'm going to go through a number of the other conditions, but I wanted to point out the setbacks differences. The first row there shows the front, side, and rear setbacks that are allowed by right in the RLMD zone. And then the middle row shows what was previously approved with the previous PUD. And then the bottom row shows what is being proposed now. So what's being proposed now has a little bit shorter setbacks than what's allowed by the zoning ordinance, but it is less, it's not as big of a difference as what was previously approved. So I think given that and given how the overall layout of the site is, we're recommending approval of these modified setbacks. So this is how there's 2 tables in the zoning ordinance that keep track of PUDs. They're in table 9-9B-3-1 and 4-1. So this is showing what would be changed by ordinance. So the previous PUD, which was 2004-04, would be eliminated, and then the new PUD 2020-03 would be added to those tables to show the setback requirements. So this project, the CEQA finding for this project, we're using a class 32 infill exemption. This is an exemption that can be used on sites that are less than 5 acres and are considered infill sites by meeting a number of criteria that we've gone through. And so that's, we always try to use CEQA where we can to avoid larger analyses. In this case, this is an exemption that's been allowed for a number of years, and it actually applies pretty well to this site. So I want to go through a few. I'm not going to go through every condition. There's a number of conditions in your draft resolution, but I want to hit a few highlights that are specific to this project. So the staff is recommending that the park area have improvements put into it. We're recommending a small tot lot, some benches, picnic tables, shade trees, landscaping and ADA access, and that we would like the park to be done by the time the 10th new home is completed so that those people can have access to the park. We also recognize that there will possibly be some in lieu fees that need to be paid for parks, and we've written a condition that says that these additional improvements can be used as credit against those fees so that the developer gets some credit for the extra amenities they're putting in. And then the Public Facilities Maintenance District will need to be formed to maintain the park and the parking area and the ponding basin. They're going to pay typical development impact fees. I shouldn't say because the site is near the sewer treatment plant, but it does help. The city has a standing policy to require a noise and odor easement to be recorded on all the lots, and this is actually for any site in the city. Because we're in an ag community and we have Lemoore and the base, for a number of years we required that new subdivisions record a noise and odor easement to inform buyers. So the easement then gets put into every sales document. So not just the first buyer, but every buyer after that gets informed of this. There will be a block wall along the north side of the property adjacent to the industrial area. I already mentioned the fencing, special fencing around the park and the parking area. The south side adjacent to the golf course will have the wrought iron fencing that's similar to the fencing along other subdivisions along the golf course. And staff is recommending that the home plans do have a couple modifications. We want to require tile roofs for the homes, and this would be similar to the other golf course developments. We're also requiring that any special skirting or things that are in the front facade of the homes be wrapped around to the side. And that's a similar condition that we usually put on all new home plans. We have some conditions about the conditions, covenants, and restrictions, or CC&Rs, that would go with the site. And this is just, again, to inform the buyers and make them aware that these are similar to other communities near the golf course, is that they have an airspace easement, or I don't know if it's actually an easement, but something to inform the owner that there's probably going to be golf balls in your backyard. So that's basically what that's for. And there's some other CC&Rs, especially the acknowledgement of the location of the wastewater treatment plant. And then the final thing I wanted to point out is the city is in the process of developing a bicycle and walking trail south of this site along the golf course. It would be parallel to Vine Street, and it was planned to stop at this site. And so we're asking recommending that the sidewalk that would normally be along Vine Street be widened to 10 feet, and then that would be a continuance of that trail. And that is all I have, but I'm sure you'll have some questions.
You mentioned that the lot size is not normal, which is about 7,000 square feet. Something like. What does this lot size kind of average out?
Oh, I've got that here if I can find the right page.
4,300 right here.
Oh, I missed that. So
About 40, yeah. They said the minimum is looking like about 2,500. Maximum is 5,700. They're getting
Okay.
smaller.
yeah,
Yes.
they're small, no doubt about that. The other
They will be
question
smaller, yes.
is that you indicated there was a space, I don't remember which one it was, for additional or overflow parking or something of that nature.
Yeah, there's a space that has 5 additional parking spaces right there where the two roads meet
Okay,
for
does
guest
that-
parking.
Does that allow room for like our recreational vehicles, or is it just visitors needing a place to park?
It's a standard 9 by 20 or 9 by 19 parking space, so probably not for
Probably not.
RVs.
Okay. All right.
One of them will be handicap accessible.
Okay.
And that's something the city's gonna have to maintain?
Yes, because that'll become city property. So when the when the Public Facilities Maintenance District is formed, there will be an estimate of the costs of maintenance over the years, and then that will determine what the fee that goes to the property owners would be. So when we form Public Facilities Maintenance Districts, or PFMDs, we go through that process every time to see what is the maintenance cost for this particular PFMD. So every PFMD in the city has a little bit different fee because they have slightly different amenities.
Right.
So this one might be a little higher because of the park and the parking area. Yeah, so the one of the reasons why we wanted the additional parking was because there will only be parking allowed on one side of the road because of the width of the street. But I didn't say it. Staff is recommending approval with these conditions.
Yeah, well, I went out there and looked, it's definitely an infill type of project, so.
Oh, what was that?
I said, it's definitely an infill type of project from my perspective. And that creates limitations on what's actually possible or feasible. And
Yes.
so,
Yes, and because of that, yeah, so the because there was so much infrastructure already put in the streets, it just wasn't, the site would never have been feasible unless the street layout was maintained. And so once you do that, you're kind of limited on lot size and what you can do. So and then the lot size limits the home size. Judy reminded me the home sizes are between 867 and 1,550 square feet. I think there was a page that had a little bit higher numbers. Those numbers include the garage space, but the home space is 867 to 1,551.
it seems to me that there is some type of move for smaller lots, smaller residences, just because of yard maintenance and other things. It's a different kind of living. This isn't a land tract in the middle of Kansas someplace where you can have huge lots. It's just not where we are, right or wrong. It's not where we are, I think. Questions or comments?
I just, looking at it, I just think it's a creative way of making this whole project work with what's already there. And it's about time that something finally got done there.
Okay.
So who's holding the actual builder accountable for a lot of our city requests?
A lot of these conditions can be enforced through the improvement plans that they submit. And then the others will ultimately be by the inspectors as they build.
All right.
Since this is a continuance of a public hearing, do we need to really reopen the public hearing at this point in time or not?
Yes, you'll need to hold the public hearing. The matter last time was continued to this
Was
meeting,
continued,
so
right.
you'll want to go through the regular course
Okay, so
as if the meeting,
it's just
the hearing was noticed for
like a
today.
regular one, okay.
That's correct.
I do have one other question, comment on it.
Sure.
Is the city going to be responsible for enforcing like upkeep? Because the other houses that are backed up to the golf course, all those communities, they're either HOA or they have certain guidelines they have to follow in order to, maintain the appeal of the golf course.
Mhm.
So is there going to be any type of enforcement to ensure that the new residents of this project or going to maintain their properties to be suitable with what's currently there in the other communities?
I don't know that there'll be something like that. Yeah.
So that's why we're requiring a set of CCNRs be established for this project, so that if we receive any complaints or if we notice something that's out of the ordinary or egregious, then city staff could send them a letter and hopefully come to compliance. It does put the onus on the city to go and make them comply, if you will. It is more difficult than an HOA, because a HOA, you have your own community is policing each other. So typically when it's this situation, we would rely on neighbors or people at the golf course that might be golfing. If they see something that's maybe not in compliance, it would be probably a complaint basis that we would react to it.
Anything else, commissioners? Okay, we will open the public hearing at 7:52. Any comments from the public? Please step forward, give your name and address, please.
Jeff Kreider. My business address or home address?
Home address, please.
12470 South Academy, Selma. So I'm the builder developer, and thank you for Judy and her team doing all the hard work on this. A couple of things we're struggling with is the costs of these homes and some of the conditions that we're going through. The block wall is one of them. It's been recommended that we stucco that wall. It would be if it gets tagged, it'd be better to paint it because it could be matched easier. If we stucco that and it gets tagged, you'll always see it. You could never match that again. I mean, paint, you probably could see a little bit, but it'll match better than trying to match. You could never match the stucco. So if you paint the stucco, you would see it. So if we could get that change, the bike path, again, we're struggling. These are entry-level homes. They're not, I mean, our lowest home in there, our highest home will probably be like in the high 260s. Maybe if we have to, we'll push it maybe low 270s. So every time we add cost to that, we're pushing people out of the price range in that. So the bike path, I don't know if there's, they were talking about a grant that the city received. So if there's any way they could help us, because I think there's cement there already that we have to tear out. So if there's any way you could help with that cost or with that bike path area. And probably the last thing would be the tile roofs. So the elevations that we gave you show comp roofs on those. And that's when I priced out tile to put on there. I know I put comp roof on $500,000 homes all the time. And the tile will add between $3,000 and $4,000 house, $1,000 per house to add the tile roof onto these things. So if we could change that to comp, that would help immensely. That's all I had.
Okay. Any other public comment? Okay, hearing none, we will close this at 7:56. Questions or comments, commissioners? After hearing public comment and the staff report?
So if we decided that the tile roof wasn't necessary in order to stay with the I guess the motif of the surrounding neighborhoods, how big of a detriment would that be? If we just went with the comp as opposed to the tile.
So in staff's opinion, all of the rest of the roofs, the rest of the subdivisions out in the golf course, they all have tile roof. So we would like tile roof here as well. The other thing is that it's our opinion that comp roofs look great on high-pitched arched houses with the tall roofs. When you start getting lower, it may not look as good, but it's really up to you. And this is a recommendation to city council, so it will end up going to city council for their approval. So that's why we are recommending that it be tile roof to match the rest of the golf course. And then the same with the stucco, because the rest of the golf course has the block walls that are stuccoed instead of just painting the block walls. I would like to point out, if you don't mind, the bike path. It's my understanding, and I'll point it out here, that the grant is going all the way up to Green Lane. So the grant is doing the bike path all the way up to Green Lane here. This has already been torn out as part of the grant. So the bike path and the additional paving will only be from this to here, this section. And I'm not sure if you understood that either. Okay. I think I just wanted to point that out so that everyone understood that. Okay.
A question, sir, the builder. I'm assuming you've done your due diligence in putting this thing together and bringing this project forward. And
Yeah.
I've swung a hammer and used a saw a little bit, and I know that what you're doing is not easy. It's you got to watch every dime and penny you spend. These are small lots.
Yep.
It's a small or narrow street, I should say. Small living space. And you said 260, 270 or something like that
That'd be the high.
for the high end of them at 1,500 square feet or whatever it would be. You know, copper is going to last you 30 years probably, and tile roof more than that, or cement shake or whatever you want to talk about that. But that all adds an expense. What does that do to your market analysis for an infill project like that in Lemoore?
No, and the tile roof doesn't give you any more really for somebody to buy it. What we're running up against is what people can afford. So and I'm not exaggerating, we have 100 people waiting list right now for people that want affordable housing. So what we ran with on the last one that we did is people qualifying. And so that's what we struggle with is, trying to get that price to a point where they can get into a home. These are going to all be first-time home buyers. This isn't the most desirable location. It's across from a sewer plant. So that we struggle with that. That'll probably be our biggest problem is when somebody comes out there and there's a sewer plant across the street. So the tile and the comp, not.
Okay.
That answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Another question for you, sir. So what would then be like the median price for a home in that project?
Let's say probably 250s. Yeah, because there's like I said, there's only one of the 800 ones. So you have is there a 1073, a 1304, and a 15. So the middle one, the 1304, I think it is, will be in the 250s.
Other questions, comments, commissioners? Okay, we will then close the hearing at 8:02. So we have a recommendation from city staff.
I'm not so sure I want to recommend it as everything's written after hearing about the roof and some other things, so I'm not, looking at it where this is at, it's a little bit, I don't know if it really needs to be that consistent with the rest of the course. Because if you go on the south side of the golf course, the existing subdivision that was there before the course was put in, you know, that's, they have any kind of roof you can think of over there. And actually, on my house not that long ago, I just had to put a new roof. I put a comp roof and it looks, you know, really nice compared to what a comp roof used to look like. So I don't know if that's something that, personally, I don't know if that's really necessary.
Well, we have a request from the developer, proposed developer to consider some of the recommendations from staff, one of those being the roof, whether it's comp or non-comp. It can't be wood shingles or shakes, I know that, okay? Then there's the other thing about the wall, stucco as opposed to being like a block wall that could be repainted. And I've seen in the city where block walls have been repainted and the cover up is better than trying to match stucco. Right or wrong, that's just my opinion. And so I don't know whether there's any feeling that the project has viability if some of those considerations, some of those requests were considered.
Right, like the block wall, isn't the block wall anywhere else on the golf course? Aren't they along the streets?
No. They're all stucco.
No, but I mean, all the existing block walls that are stucco, they're all along the street, correct? This one is actually facing the back of commercial buildings, right?
And Vine Street.
And on Vine, okay.
Well, I think another thing we need to consider is that piece of maybe it's a bad term, that piece of dirt out there has been sitting vacant for, what is it, 20 years now or something like that with nothing happening to it. And if there's an opportunity to get some benefit out of that, maybe that deserves some consideration as well. Otherwise, it's going to be out there with sagebrush and weeds and nothing else.
Yeah, I agree. I think a comp roof would look better than what's there now. So I think it'd be nice if we could see some compromises made in order to make this work.
Well, is anyone willing to make a motion on this, or what if we do, if it just dies for lack of a motion or dies for lack of a second? I'm looking at you now.
Chair, would we be able to discuss those other options, those items that the developer was requesting, those conditions?
I was just going to remind you that this is a recommendation to council, so you're free to make the changes that you wish and make that.
Yes, and I'll add that just provided that you specify what those changes might be, whether it's changing or deleting or adding whatever condition that the commission sees fit. In addition, since this is a recommendation to the council, if there is either a push vote, if there is a push vote, then it is effectively no recommendation.
Okay, let me ask an ignorant question. What is a push vote?
Even split.
Okay, thank you.
Ray, I'm with you on the comp roofs. I don't know how everybody else feels. I'm good on the comp roofs and the painted brick.
I don't think there's any issue with it just because it's the way the houses are designed. I mean, they go with comp. I don't think they'd look the same with tile. And then it's, like you say, it's been vacant all those years. It's just a different type of project. And then the walls, none of it's going to be facing, the walls are not going to be facing the golf course. The part that is facing the golf course is going to match with the the wrought iron fence. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to see it die over something as simple as a comp roof.
If we give in, or if we work out something compromised with the comp roofs and the painted brick, will we still be able to work out the bike paths?
Yeah, that helps.
Uh-huh.
Well, and I like what Brewer said, this, the interior is going to be wrought iron, which is really common throughout that course.
Right.
The exterior is not that visible, in my opinion, in terms of a block wall that can be painted in this area. So that may be the wiggle room that can work this thing out.
And isn't the housing development further down on Vine, doesn't it have a brick wall now?
It has a wood post.
The-
South on Vine.
No, the ones that it'd be north on Vine, on the opposite side of Iona. Isn't there a housing development down there that has a brick wall down it? Yeah, when you get closer to 198 before the church ends at 198, I think they have a brick wall for their development there, don't they?
I think they do.
Are you talking about on the west end of their lot, or?
Well, if you went north on
the-
Vine, north of Iona,
Right.
there's a housing development to the left. I think they have a brick wall there.
That was a self-help development several
That's what it
years
started
ago.
off as self-help, and then DJ built behind that, and it's all
Yeah.
wood fences along there.
Okay.
On the far, west side is the brick wall.
Well, if you guys are for this, I mean, minus the stucco and the tile roof requirement we're asking for, I'd make a motion to move this.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Franklin. We have a second.
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Echegon. Commissioner Franklin?
Yes.
Excuse me, Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just because there was a suggested modification made.
Yes.
Can you read back the motion just for clarity's sake?
Okay, the motion, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, Christie, is that we may include
I'll state it.
non-stucco and go with
Go
the,
ahead and just read it from the staff report, I believe. Is there a motion on the staff report?
Yes, I'll motion to adopt resolution number 2021-01 for plan unit development number 2020-03, revision of Fairway Courtyards, tentative subdivision map 2020-02, and major site plan review number 2020-05. We're removing the condition for the stucco wall and the tile roofs. That's it. Everything else as requested.
So if I may, Mr. Chairman, so the stucco wall requirement is in condition 13. We could change the word stucco covered to painted. And then the tile roof requirement is number 27, and we would delete that condition.
just delete that condition, right?
That's how I understand the motion.
Okay. Does it need to
27.
stay, does it need to say a comp roof?
No, we would just not state the type of roof.
Okay.
But we're still keeping the bike path, correct?
Yes, yeah, if they can do that.
Okay, are we ready now? Okay, Commissioner Franklin, you make the motion. Vote yes, please.
Yes.
Commissioner Echegon? Aye. Commissioner Brewer?
Aye.
Commissioner Clement?
Aye.
Commissioner Nix?
Aye.
Commissioner Day?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Thank you.
Well, we thank you for pursuing this project. Okay. Number 8, Director's Report. Judy Hallwell.
All right, I don't really have much to add from, we just met 2 weeks ago. We are still working on the Helena project. We might be able to get that one to you in time for the next regular Planning Commission meeting, which is April 12th. We're pushing for that date. And then the Johnny Quick, we're hoping to get it on that date as well. The addendum to the Lemoore negative declaration, that was for reviewing the environmental for the roundabouts out there. That one did go to City Council and they approved that. So that was for the Lemoore project, the housing project, but it also plays into the Johnny Quick project because that was a requirement of Caltrans for a roundabout to be considered for Bush and Bellhaven. And then I think someone asked about the Lemoore project last meeting. They have submitted their grading plan. So that's the Lemoore project for the west side. And I think that's about all that's really going on right now. I mean, we have some other projects. We have some things in the works that we don't have an application on yet. But just a quick update for you.
Okay, and the EIR on the Lacey project?
And that one's still moving forward too. We have not received it yet.
Okay. Commissioners' reports or requests for information? Hearing none, meeting adjourned at 8:14.